welcome to the 100th episode of the Nasboys podcast. Man, we've been doing this show for just about 3 years, and it is crazy that we have made it this far to 100 episodes. It's really crazy. But anyways, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Pop Fan 101, with my good friends, finally, and co-hosts, Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What it do, Nasboys crew?
And Cam, aka Noticed_Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's get down to talking about this weekend's races over at Portland and Gateway. Overall, this weekend was a pretty solid weekend for some races. We will kick it off with the truck race. What did you guys think of it?
Well, as you mentioned the word solid, I felt like all the racing this weekend was solid as well. I definitely have to agree with you on that. It's been hot. Summer's here, and the action has been hot on and off the track. Well, first off, truck series. Not really surprised by how the race was there. There was 11 cautions and 11 lead changes to match up, but pretty much it was dominated by two people, Grant Enfinger and Zane Smith. Enfinger, led 65 to 162 laps, and then Zane Smith had led 32. But the guy who started on the pole, Tom Majeski, he did lead 55 laps, but he ended up wrecking. If you hadn't seen that, here it is.
Oh, they look at Enfinger, was going to make it 3 wide.
Oh, they both wreck. Ty Majeski gets into Zane Smith. Caution comes out.
There was a couple wrecks in this one, and probably the most notable one is one we'll talk about in a few minutes with Haley Deegan getting turned. But overall, it was a decent race, but a typical truck crash wreck fest.
Yeah, there was lots of wrecks for sure. But I also thought the race was kind of competitive as well. So, it had excitement to it. That was always neat. But yes, Christian's right. It's been a very hot weekend. Very hot.
Yeah, I mean, we did see a lot of wrecks in that truck race. I was really surprised by that. Some guys that were competing were Grant Enfinger. Obviously, he won the race. I believe he got his second win of the season, so that's pretty cool for him.
Yep.
Let's see. Daniel Dye, even, he surprised me. I heard that he had a bit of a problem with his truck, and then he rallied back in the last stage to try to lead some laps. I got to figure out exactly where he finished, but he definitely impressed me. Let's see. Majeski was a good truck, but then he wrecked. And then Deegan has just been having such terrible luck. It seemed like she got up close to the front, and then just unfortunately, it seemed like she got junked again. So, sucks.
Yeah.
Great battle up front. There's battles all over the racetrack on this side. Haley Deegan gets a shove. She'll bring out the caution as she slams the outside wall in turn 3.
For her, she's again been having terrible luck, finally getting up to the front, and then just unfortunately can't stay there. Stuart Friesen was another good driver as well. Chase Purdy, he got 5th. Di Benedetto got 6th. Trying to see where Dye finished. Dye finished 11th. Not too terrible.
11th.
So,
Dude.
Also Jesse Love, he was filling in for Corey Heim, who was out with an illness. He finished in 9th, so that's pretty cool. And I believe his first truck start. Could be wrong.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, Jesse Love has ran in ARCA for a couple, I think 2 years now. I know he runs at Millbridge Speedway because Millbridge is Dirt Vision broadcast Millbridge races, so I'm pretty familiar with his name. But man, Deegan, she got dumped by Nick Sanchez. What was Nick Sanchez thinking there? He just sent it right into the corner, just took her out, wiped her out. You used her basically as a brake. She just keeps. It seems like every short track she just keeps getting ran through every single race.
Ran through.
Oh, come on.
She got turned, man. That is really upsetting, though. Yeah. I know I saw that, and I know it really did look intentional. He did not give any craps for that.
Yeah. All right. Taking a look at what you guys had to say. 20% said great. 20% said great. 60% said good. 20% said mess. That's okay. Nobody said bad. No thoughts. no driver of the day. I'm gonna give it to Grant Enfinger because he was up in the front a lot of the day and he looked really competitive and obviously won the race. So there you go.
Uh, I don't even know honestly because I would go with Enfinger because he led and he obviously won. Uh, I don't want to give it to the driver who wins the race yet again, but I'm going to have to, even though as much as I'd want to have another driver as the driver today, we just have to
Yeah,
go with him.
I don't blame you on that.
For me, yeah, I'm gonna say Infinger as well.
All right. And taking a look at the Xfinity race, what did you guys think of that?
So so we'll look at the standings for each of these series afterwards. But with the Xfinity race, this is their second time at Portland, which is a road course in Portland, Oregon. And I've actually grown to like this track a lot. I didn't really know much about it until they went there last year, but it's provided some exciting racing. Even though a lot of people have to wreck a lot of people to pass them. Um, they, 77, they're supposed to be 75 laps, ended up going 77. It's called the Pacific Office Automation 147. That's quite an odd race name to say the least. But early on, we saw Sheldon Creed battling for the lead. He ended up leading the most laps with 47. He started on the pole, and then he got wiped out by John Hunter Nemechek at the end of either the first or the second stage. If you haven't seen that, here it is.
Right?
He's about to make him loose in turn 12 right here for sure.
Oh, it's 10, 11, and 12, and there goes Creed. Roll reversal into stage 2. Custer comes through. What a finish this is going to be. Back to the line. John Hunter Nemechek. Custer rallies and wins the stage. Unbelievable finish.
Nemechek was just really aggressive there. I felt like he had no need to turn him. Especially at the end of the stage like that. I mean, he could have passed him by moving them instead of dumping them. But, I thought that the end of the stages were really exciting. We saw the close one with Custer. Justin Allgaier, he led 23 laps. It was really solid day for Junior Motorsports. They've been struggling to go this year, but they had rebounded at Charlotte, obviously, with Justin Allgaier winning. And then today, Sam Mayer went from, or not today, Saturday, Sam Mayer went from 36th to 3rd, and then Josh Berry finished 4th. So I thought overall, even though it was only 5 lead changes, I thought the Portland race was pretty solid. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
And yeah, for me, I also think it was a good race too. Portland's a newer track for me as well. Like I honestly I didn't even know Portland even had a track, before last year. Like when I heard about that, I was like, they even got race fans up there. No offense to Oregon. Sorry. No offense to Oregon. I just, wasn't expecting that. But anyways, yeah, it was really interesting. And then, as Christian was speaking of Jeb Burton and Smith. I can't, what's his first name? Someone help me here.
Chandler Smith.
Yeah, thank you, Chandler Smith. So that that was kind of funny too. I'm telling you, all should agree. NASCAR needs to have a hockey fight type thing where they just let people duke it out for like 30 seconds. Like a 30-second fight, bro. And then after that, you can tackle these guys and beat them up all you want. But just 30-second fight. Let them throw hands.
I'd say at least 20.
Really? Like, it wouldn't hurt
longer.
anything.
What?
I'm going to say 40.
Hey, 20, 30, 40.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of these guys deserve it.
Well, it's not even that, too. But I think my thing is, I think it's better to take it out like that than to throw shade, to have drama, or to later maybe cause a wreck somewhere later on in the season. Because then you can just throw your hands, get your anger out, and then maybe you guys are better. Sometimes it's not like that, but I feel like it would help. Or the hockey wouldn't do it. There's a reason why hockey made that involved.
I thought that obviously Chandler Smith, I feel like Chandler Smith was in the wrong in this instance just because like he had been like hitting Burton multiple times. Like it looked like he was purposely trying to wreck him and he eventually did take him out. I can understand Burton's frustration. Burton used to drive Ford Colleague Racing. So there is some obviously after a little bit of an altercation, which there wasn't really that much of an altercation because of the crews.
So he's going to get a broken nose after this race.
Are you sure about that?
Let's see that in an instant replay.
So he's going to get a broken nose after this race.
Basically, Burden had a talk with Chris Rice, and Chris Rice looked like he was so big compared to him. Like he looked huge. I didn't realize he was that wide. I'm not gonna lie, like in the shoulders. Guys remind me of Ryan Newman, no offense, people. But Jeff Burden, like he's like, oh, I landed a couple shots on him on Twitter and all this. Well, Smith proved him wrong with video evidence. So
That's cap, yeah.
yeah, I thought Burden, I understand he has to be frustrated, but don't lie about stuff like that. Come on now.
Yeah. I thought the race was pretty solid as well. It looked a lot more competitive compared to previous road course races in the Xfinity series. Like there were a lot of drivers that were competing. Allgaier, Creed, Nemechek, Custer, obviously, he won the race. And it just looked like a lot more like aggressive side-by-side racing, like what you would actually expect in a road course instead of the drivers just pulling away. So I would like to see Portland come back on the schedule for the next few years. I think it's a pretty solid track. Talking about the Nemechek and not Custer, Creed incident. I think that Nemechek was also in the wrong for this. He was racing way too aggressive, and he's been known to like dump people like this. I mean, we saw him last season. He dumped Taylor Gray for first for no reason. He just drove right through him at I believe it was Lucas Oil Raceway Park. Just straight up drove through him for again no reason. And then he just whines about it that somebody else's fault. But this time he handled it pretty well. He went up to Sheldon and apologized, probably because Sheldon got him back.
John Hunter Nemechek wants to get by that 7 car as fast as possible and put one between them.
Oh, it almost looks like he moved over to block him.
There it is.
They are in 12. 2 gets the 20. Creed sends Nemechek. Payback delivered.
This cost John Hunter a lot more, though, with all these cars stacked up for restart.
I just don't understand why you wouldn't move over and let him go. I mean, you're just going to be in such a better position.
And look who got by for second in that exchange. Parker Kligerman. He's now side by side with Creed into 1. Austin Hill is there. Jordan Taylor and Cole Custer is pulled back up into that conversation.
So there you go. Good props to Sheldon, by the way. I feel really bad for him because he's had some pretty solid runs this season, but just ends up either getting dumped or a mechanical problem with his car. So I hope Sheldon can get a win at some point this season because he definitely has earned at least 2 or 3. But yeah, the other incident was also with Nemechek and his teammate Sammy Smith. Here's that.
Just riding and taking care of his equipment.
Used to, I would have said, oh, John Hunter Nemechek around again. That's a big deal.
Yeah, he had
Sammy Smith going through the chicane there. All kinds of action.
Nemechek had fallen outside.
Oh, teammates.
Look at this.
Wrecking each other.
So that'll be an interesting competition meeting, right?
Yeah, we got to go back and see what happened in turn 1 because
Was that connected, or was he trying to blend back on the racetrack after the chicane?
Let's see what happened here going down into turn 1.
Oh,
yeah, Sammy Smith just got in there, really deep and got into John Hunter, and then
the retaliation.
Of course, his frustration is
right back together
a 10 right now, right, because of what happened with Creed, and then.
Oh my!
But that's not the right way to handle that. I don't think with your teammate. None of that was on purpose.
Here's the other.
I don't know what was going on here. They were racing each other like crap. It looked like that Nemechek kind of put him in the grass a little bit. I'm not sure. And then Sammy kind of retaliated, and then Nemechek was upset that Sammy retaliated, which no duh, he's going to retaliate. Apparently, he even said on the radio they're going to fight. Like, Nemechek, how old are you again? You're a grown man. Sammy Smith is like, what, 19? What the heck, man? Grow some balls, Nemechek. You suck.
Whoa.
It's true. Segura said he's a typical Toyota driver.
Oh, shots fired.
But
Based at it. That just inserts the Sigma at it.
But yeah, the other incident, obviously, Jeb Burton and Chandler Smith. I didn't really see too much video of what happened, but from what Jeb described, I agree with him being upset in this instance, even though I'm not that big of a Jeb Burton fan. But what I didn't like is he was trying to sound all hard, like, oh, my fist did the talking. When in the video, you could see him being held back, and he like threw like 1 or 2 weak shots, and they got held back, and then he got held in a chokehold. So who really won there? But yeah, overall, I think it was a great race, and I enjoyed watching. So hopefully they go back to Portland, like I mentioned.
Now, do you remember when, I know it's a little off topic, but it kind of reminds me of this fight from the NBA. Back in the 1980s, there was a fight where Larry Bird and Julius Erving were going at it, and they had Bird in a chokehold, and Erving was punching him.
Jay and Bird is broken out on the court. And Moses Malone takes Bird down. He's got him in a headlock. Casey Jones pulls Malone off the pack. And now ML Carr and Malone do a little pushing. Malone throws a shot at him. Now Cunningham and Carr go at it. And Larry Bird still wants a piece of Jay. My goodness.
And this all with one referee. That's tough, baby. This is a heated ball game, and it's in stages of a blowout. Tempers are bound to flare in an important ball game like this, and
Bird still wants a piece of Jay.
That's what it looked like, except for Smith ain't throwing any punches. That's what it basically looked like.
I think Chandler was trying to, but the crew just got so much in the way.
There's a lot of bodies there. Like, come on, people.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
sure.
It was just really funny. It just looked really funny to me. He was like, "Get off, get off, get off." And he just like, "Oh no, I don't know." It was just kind of like a skit, honestly.
It's a goofy dog fight.
Yeah, taking a look at what
Ohio
you guys
type
had.
fight.
Ohio type fight. Coming from the guy in Ohio. So you'd know.
Yeah, obviously. It's the whole point.
I know, dude. But anyway.
Yeah, hey, Mike. At least I don't look like I'm from Ohio, Mike. Yeah.
Oh!
I look like I'm from Ohio?
Oh, get burnt, buddy. Ohio type person right here.
Bruh. Take a look at what you guys have to say. 60% said great. 40% said good. Nobody said /okay. Nobody said bad. No thoughts. Thoughts on the Nemechek thing? 60% are with Nemechek. 40% with Creed. Why would you be with Nemechek?
I wonder who voted for him, to be honest.
And then 40% were with Jeb Burton, and then 60% were with Chandler Smith. Again, why?
People.
No thoughts on the finish. Oh, yeah, the finish, too, might I add.
Allgaier inside, Creed outside. Overtime presented by Credit One Bank.
You see, it looked like the front row got a little stacked up. Kligerman's actually pushing. He's waiting for that Justin start finish Allgaier down line. and going to pull out. Oh, can he slow down
for the race lead.
Oh, no. They're all three going to go straight.
Custer goes through to the lead.
Wow. Oh, Justin did a really good job getting through the barrier there. He's still going to be in second place as he blends here.
They both did a
I tell you what,
job.
that's incredible. That is incredible that they were able to make it through there.
It was like he and Creed had rehearsed that earlier today. They drive right through. They come off second and fourth, but Cole Custer now is your race leader.
Definitely the beneficiary on that deal. Cole Custer with a pretty good lead. I think as good as his car is, that might be all he needed. Yeah, they're going to be frustrated with Parker Kligerman, but you know what? He's going for it right there. Push Justin down. Just not able to get slowed down, and those guys being on that side. We talked about it. That's why you want to be on the inside, because that's going to be the preferred lane if it slides out. And he got a perfect restart. Justin Allgaier did not get the start that he got the last time. Parker timed it perfect and put himself in that position, so they opened the door up for that. Oh, look at those guys.
How impressive is this? Sam Mayer shoving Sheldon Creed wide, racing for third.
Yeah, that wreck started about 5 seconds earlier, and it just ended when they got to turn 11, turn 12. The fact that Sheldon Creed is still in 7th after this last lap is unbelievable. He has gone off in about every section you can.
White flag is out. This is the final lap. Next flag ends the race. Cole Custer out in front of Justin Allgaier. Think about the day for Cole Custer, and the irony of him getting the race lead on a restart where someone had problems making the corner, because that's how he lost the
Justin
lead.
is
charging, though. It is not over here.
It's not over yet, Adam. Allgaier's making a run for him here. And that last turn, you're vulnerable because you're going to have to protect the inside.
And you know he's going to shoot it in there.
And if you do protect the inside, he can move you. And, you know, Allgaier feels like this is his race. I'll tell you what, it's going to be close. If he can get a good exit right here down into turn 10.
I don't know that he got enough. No, I don't know that you can make that shot here.
Prior to last week, neither of these veteran drivers had won this season. We felt like they were contenders.
Oh, he's trying.
In there,
he's trying.
Allgaier wins it.
Oh, and he go deep into the corner.
Custer trying to do it today, but Allgaier is there. Final corner at Portland.
Wow. He might get this.
Custer out in front of Allgaier. Back to the start-finish line. What a finish. Cole Custer, first win of the year, comes in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah, it looked like Allgaier was going to win the race, and then I don't know what Parker Kligerman or Kilgerman, whatever his name is, was doing. He just kind of drove it in the corner way too deep, like he was at like Coda or the Charlotte Roval, for example, and just tried to screw the finish up. Ended up screwing the 2 and the 7, and then the 2 ended up getting screwed over by Mayer at the end of the race. So that was really wild, but. I mean, Cole Custer, I give him props. I didn't expect his first win to come on a road course. I just didn't think of him as much of a road course guy. So this is like his second win really in a row where he's come from surprise. Obviously, the last one being 2020 Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when Custer won that race in Kentucky. That was a wild finish as well. Just kind of like out of nowhere sort of thing. But Custer had a strong car all day, and you know, Creed he ran really well here last year, so I wasn't surprised by how well he ran, despite getting ran through multiple times. But it is what it is. I think for me, my driver today is definitely Creed. I mean, he was on the pole, he led the most laps, but he did finish 7th, so that kind of lessens that case.
Yeah, I'm going to have to also say Sheldon Creed is driver of the day. He had the dominant car and just kept getting screwed over.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. I also want to say, too, is just like, I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way about Custer, but I'm really excited for him this season. Like, this whole time. I don't know why. Like, I've been so excited to see him, like, drive. And I don't know why it is that way, but I just think it's because maybe he has more of a chance. Like, no offense. Like, I'm not trying to be, like, that's not rude. I'm not trying to be rude, like, honestly. Like, maybe it's just because he has more of a chance in Xfinity. So, like,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, I think I finally get to see his skills in this type of level. And then it's like you look at him and you're like, you know what? He's decent. Like, he's not like terrible at all.
He's a guy like Justin Allgaier or Elliott Sadler, in my opinion, where they're not great in Cup, but they're very, very good in Xfinity. And that's just the type of talent level they are at. So that's what I think. I think he might pick up a couple wins this season, but not championship like I originally predicted. So
yeah, I agree. I think over the years though he'll be pretty good.
We'll see.
I think with Creed, I mean with Custer, I mean I'm not used to him being in the Xfinity because he's been in Cup the last couple of years, so it's still kind of getting used. I'm still trying to get used to that, but I feel like he could definitely like run some more solid races. I don't know how many more he'll win this year. I'd say maybe 1. But maybe in a couple of years he could get back in Cup. We'll see. I mean, he's still young. Still got lots of room to grow. But yeah, that's all I gotta say.
And now talking about the Cup race. This was another wild race. What did you think of it?
Well, first let's talk about what happened before the race in the beginning, because where in the world did this lightning come from? Like, it looked like sunny there. I know somebody said they burnt their feet through their shoes and they had to go to the hospital. I heard that on Twitter, but apparently it was really hot there. St. Louis, second year in a row, it's been packed out. Obviously their fireworks on the backstretch is really cool to see. I saw some people there videoing that, and then early on, obviously the guy on the pole, Kyle Busch, I picked him. Me and Mike both picked him to win. And the reason why I picked him to win was because I mean he's had experience at Gateway. He's ran there for years in the Nationwide Series and now Xfinity Series. And then I just saw the way he was driving the car. The way he was running the corners, he seemed to be good on every aspect of the track. And I was like, I'm just gonna go with him. But I had Tyler Reddick on my fantasy team. He was doing solid. He gets spun out, works his way all the way back up there, and then gets wrecked again.
Down. Poof. Exact same thing as Hocevar. I'm going to tell you that's a brake rotor as well. Just
like what happened with Zane Smith at Wilkesboro, where he came back from the back of the field. But yeah, that red flag had me worried because I was watching the IndyCar race, like whenever the red flag was going on, I was like, are they going to actually get this in? I know they have lights, so that didn't bother me. I was just like, I was just like, man, we had everything like planned out, and now it's going to want to like be delayed. I'm like, come on. But yeah, what did y'all think about the beginning stages of that race?
I mean, I thought it was weird because I had turned the race on at work on my radio, and I heard there was a lightning delay. I was like, "Huh?" just more so confusion. I didn't know what was going on because I thought they could get the whole race in, but I don't know.
Yeah, from the pictures I could see on Facebook when they were complaining about it, I mean, it looked like nothing was there. It looked clear as day out. So it was just a little weird to me. I don't know. I'm just gonna say on this one that the government was testing the weather system again.
Conspiracy.
Conspiracy theories on Nasboys podcast, baby. That's what you guys get for the 100th episode. Congrats. We're going full Joe Rogan here.
Well, I guess now let's going into like the race as we continued. Carson Hocevar was driving the 7 car because obviously Chase Elliott got suspended for a weekend, and if I'm correct, Corey LaJoie was driving the 9 car. And Hendrick Motorsports struggled early on in that race. We saw Bowman back in the 20s. We saw Larson and LaJoie on the cusp of getting lapped all the way back in the 30s. I was like, wow, this is crazy. But Carson Hocevar was in the top 15. He had worked his way up there, and then he ended up like breaking a part in his front tire. I think it was like suspension or something. And then, he wrecked.
there it is. It's a brake rotor. Brake rotor broke. He was talking about having trouble. Unfortunate. Man, he was having such a good run in his 7 car, doing exactly what he needed to do. That happens here. Long straightaways.
Watch how violent this gets, Clint.
Well, he hit hard. There it broke. I love that he turned it over into the wall seam, steering that thing right into the wall, not spinning it out. That was a very heads-up play by him. Unfortunate circumstance, but a good heads-up play. Regan, what do you got?
Well, Clint, about a half a lap before that happened, Carson came over the radio, said my brake pedal is going soft. So he had a hint that was coming. Unfortunately, ended a great day for him. The 14 car of Chase Briscoe, also a hole in the radiator, possibly damaged from stuff coming off of the 7 car.
You can actually see it in that replay right there. You saw it hit the front of the 14 car. How unfortunate is that? Saw it. That same thing happened last week.
A couple other guys wrecked in this one. The hard hit by Noah Gragson, if you haven't seen that, here it is. But
if you saw the left tire down, the way that car turned and spun out way early into the corner like that.
See all the rubber off the left rear? I don't know that there's I don't know that that's it, but they're definitely a flat left rear.
Well, it's more than flat. The axle, it looks like the axle shaft is broken. The way that left rear wheel was moving around. Now, maybe from impact.
Massive impact. Glad he's okay.
We're hearing it might have.
But yeah, towards the end of the race, the cautions did ramp up a little bit. One thing that I did find quite surprising was BJ McLeod finishing higher than Keselowski, but Keselowski had an awful day, it seemed. He just couldn't get anything right with his car. They made multiple adjustments on it, but he couldn't really gain anything. But yeah, Blaney led a lot of laps. Kyle Busch led a lot of laps. Kyle Larson, after his problems, worked his way up front. He even led 5 and ended up finishing 4th. And then obviously y'all's favorite driver, Joey Logano, finished 3rd. But yeah, it's not been a good week at all for Briscoe. I know I have the flag right in here, but yeah, guy's been struggling. Unfortunately, maybe they turn things around. Maybe they could win. We'll see. But what about Ross Chastain again? Like, I mean, it looked like with McDowell, the McDowell incident, McDowell came down on him, but at the same time, he hit the rumble strips and came up.
Inside, Chastain looking to his inside, 2 tires. Oh, wait him out. I told you, look.
Round he goes. Michael McDowell.
That's him. That was your 2-tire guy. Had Chastain right on the inside of him. Round he goes.
He was in 6th place.
And he can't be too happy about getting punted.
Of being a sitting duck on 2 tires, didn't get the jump off the restart, protecting, getting on the inside and gets taken out.
Well, now still, was that contact avoidable?
You know, here's my thing on that personally. You know, here's the honest problem, right? And this makes 100% sense. 100% makes sense. I don't know how I say it. Anyways, point is that, you know, Ross Chastain, if he hasn't wrecked people in the past, been a messy driver, you know what? We'd probably give him the benefit of the doubt, right? As usual. Like, well, Michael McDowell came down, right?
Yeah.
But because he's been messy in the past and we know his previous history, it's hard for us just to say that it's Michael McDowell's fault when it kind of does look like he came up a little bit. And so, I mean, I don't know. I think this one was just a driving incident. But because of his past, it's not going to look good for him. And, you know, and I think he'll get more hate from it. So, and that's what sucks, right? It's like the boy who cried wolf. So, that's a rough story, you know. And as for the race, you know, congrats to both Michael and Christian and Kyle Busch for the win. You know, I thought I'd be different here, which I picked Joey Logano, and I thought he could have pulled something off, and he got 3rd, you know. And I was really rooting for Blaney though. You know, he was running a lot of laps, man. Blaney was up in front for a lot. So
yeah,
when I saw him up in front, I thought, man, Blaney's gonna do it again. That would have been cool for him. But you know, so overall, it was a decent race. But what do you think about the situation, Mike?
Well, with the McDowell thing, I gotta watch it again because I might change my opinion on it after watching it a couple times. But from what I did watch, it didn't really look that bad. I think I agree more with what you guys are saying. You know, that was a driver's incident, but you do gotta keep that eye out for Chastain because he is known to, you know, dump you like he's a ripoff Earnhardt. But yeah, I don't know really what to say. I just think that it was kind of, you know, how do you say it, like a racing deal. So, but the race was pretty solid. There were parts of it that were kind of boring, but there was parts of it that, you know, were really cool to watch. There was some side-by-side racing. We saw mostly Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney dominating the race. Larson was up there as well. I know that I think he rallied his way back up there. Hamlin had a good race. But you know, I can talk a little bit about, you know, Corey LaJoie. I don't know why people kept saying for him to be in the 9 car like that. Listen, he's not a bad racer by any means. He definitely deserves Cup Series ride. And I think that he was just fine with the ride that he was in. So I don't know why fans kept pushing for him to be in the 9. But, you know, he was not fast all weekend. Hocevar out-qualified him. And I know that people may say, oh, it's just qualifying. It's not that big of a deal. Hocevar was literally outrunning him in the race, too. Hocevar was at 16th at one point, and then I believe he had a brake rotor issue, kind of like what Reddick and Wallace had. And, you know, Hocevar probably would have gotten a top 15, top 20, and LaJoie barely got in the top 30. So I think that LaJoie should just stay where he's at. Don't give him really another top ride opportunity. He's just not really made for that. I think that Hendrick did it mainly because he was the only guy around, and they read the comments that fans want LaJoie to get another opportunity at a top ride, like how Alex Bowman had that. But it didn't work out, unlike Alex Bowman's situation.
Well, you got a fair point. My thing is LaJoie never really has had like a very top tier ride. But Joy, I mean, he's a talented driver. He's almost won a couple races. It's just,
Mostly at Atlanta, though.
yeah, the 7 car, he's been pretty solid in it, even though he doesn't finish in the top 15 every week. He's had some good runs, but Blaney, he led about 50 or 80 laps. Kyle Busch led over 100. Those two were pretty solid. I thought that one thing I like about Gateway that I like more than a lot of the other tracks that are underneath a mile and a half is you can pass on both lanes. We saw
Yeah.
Kyle Busch make some passes on the outside. We saw great racing on the restarts too. 3 wide passes. I really like Gateway, even though I kind of didn't like it a couple years ago. Back, like some of the nationwide races there were kind of boring, so that's kind of like what made me like it less. But now it's grown on me some. So I gotta say,
Yeah.
Gateway's better than like New Hampshire and Dover right now.
I agree. 100% agree with you. Those gateway races are actually competitive. I just think that the track didn't really work for the newer style Xfinity cars, but it works really well with the Cup cars and the what do you call it, the trucks. So
Yeah.
overall, it was a pretty decent race. I enjoyed it. I'd give it maybe a 7. Not bad, but I guess Kyle Busch dominated, and then taking a look at what you guys had to say, I'm glad I actually got a pick right for once this season. I've been a little off with the Cup picks, but I've gotten some Xfinity and truck picks right. I know that. 33% said great, 33% said good, 33% said mess. That's okay. Nobody said bad. No thoughts, no driver of the day. I'm giving it to Kyle Busch.
Yeah, same.
KB all the way, man. KB all the way.
All right,
Well,
so NASCAR had they're finally doing the Le Mans thing, the project car.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to see NASCAR Le Mans, and if you see the picture, the car is way bigger than some of the other cars. I was like, wow, this is interesting. Like the cars like seem to be like double the size of the other ones. It's like the pictures if you see like a 124 scale and a 164 scale diecast, that's what kind of reminded me at first with one of the pictures. But yeah, they placed 41st out of 62 cars there in practice, which is definitely shocking to me because I thought that they would be farther on down, but they were running really well. And Johnson was testing there, and is Le Mans week is coming up. I don't think Le Mans is running. I don't think NASCAR's running Le Mans actually this year, but I know they're planning on doing it next year. I may be wrong. Let me know. Let us know if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I thought
I'm
they were
excited.
doing it this year, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought it was this year as well, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I've been just seeing conflicted reports on that. So, hey, if I am wrong, obviously someone will let us know, or I'll put it in the comments section. But yeah, that's that. We got what's next on the schedule?
Picks.
Well, I was gonna say real quick. I think that that car is like a pit bull, man. That's exactly what it looks like. It's just big and stocky.
Yeah.
Oh, Nashville in 2 weeks. So, no, Sonoma and then Nashville. Okay. So there is an off week between Sonoma and Nashville. Okay.
Yeah, I think we got to cut this real quick, but when we get back, we will do our picks. And we are back.
Yep, and let's look real quick at the Cup Series standings. Obviously, it's been close recently, but Chastain's now only 1 point ahead of Ryan Blaney. Chastain's led 347 laps this year. Blaney has led 236, but Blaney has more top 10s than Chastain. William Byron's actually up to third now, only -4 behind Ross Chastain, and Kevin Harvick, who was running really well at Gateway, and he's been running really decently despite having no wins this season. He is -8 back of Ross Chastain. Truex Jr. is in fifth. So that's just a quick look at the Cup Series standings. And the Xfinity Series, it hasn't really changed there compared to last week. Same thing with the trucks. So I guess now we'll move on to Sonoma. And it's probably gonna be another hot weekend. It's summertime. They're going to California now. Well, isn't all 3 racing at Sonoma, or is it just
No,
two?
it's just
No,
Xfinity.
it's
and Cup.
Xfinity. Top.
Oh, I thought the truck usually race at Sonoma, so that kind of surprised me.
I thought so too. So I don't know why that is, but I guess I think this is the first time the Xfinity has raced in Sonoma in a while because I looked up some results and I couldn't find any. So I guess if AJ Allmendinger is racing, I'm gonna go with him. But if not, that's where it's a bit tricky. If he's not racing, I'm gonna say that Justin Allgaier or maybe Kyle Busch wins it.
See, for me, yeah, that's the route I'm going. If Kyle Busch is in, then Kyle Busch. But if it's not Kyle Busch, I'm going Allgaier all the way.
AJ's a really good idea. Same thing with Busch as well. But I picked him to win at Coda, and it ended up being a bad decision. But he came back from a pod at Gateway. I'm gonna go with Sam Mayer to win.
Okay, and then for the Cup Series, I at least know my pick for this one. I'm gonna go ahead and say Daniel Suarez wins it.
Oh, back to back.
I'm gonna have to check. You can go ahead with yours, Christian, if you have yours.
Well, the thing is with road courses, Hendrick's been really good at road courses lately, and it's hard to go against them. As much as I'd like to see Trackhouse win, and as much as I'd like to see Furious win, I think that, however, I'm just gonna have to go with Hendrick. I mean, they've been really strong their last couple of years. I'm going to say Kyle Larson, the California kid, Young Money, is going to go back to victory lane at Sonoma. He won here a couple of years ago. So I would not be surprised at all if he wins.
All right. I'm making my pick. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney. I think he's pretty good at road courses. And just for the fact that he's been kind of on a hot streak recently, I think he can do it. I think it just, and then like he's always been good at road courses, don't get me wrong, but he's never been like my first pick. But just because he seemed to have like this fire to him the last couple races, I do think I see maybe a better chance of him getting something here. So,
all right. And so with that will conclude this week's episode and the 100th episode of Nasboys podcast. Guys, I just want to say thank you so much for letting us continue, and thank you for watching and showing us that you like these videos, and it gives us the strength to continue. I know that sometimes we may not always be the most consistent, whether we're not there or the days that we upload, but thank you so much for all you guys sticking around. We love doing this show, and we're going to keep doing it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials. We will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.
Calling now, you want me calling now, you wanted what I